Leet Dittmeier is the executive director of Mattingly Edge, an organization of innovators in Louisville, Kentucky. And learned yesterday the recipient of TASH 2020 award, the Golden Associates Employment Award. So congratulations to Hope for a well-deserved recognition of a long career of supporting people into homes of their own and into employment. Hope's going to talk with us about keeping active support for the good things in life alive in times when things are strained and constrained. So she'll be helping us think about holding on to and continuing to connect and reconnect, to weave and reweave the threads of a good life. Hope.
Thanks, John. Appreciate the introduction very much, and I'm excited to share with you today some information that we have been, let me just make sure I'm up there. Do you all see my screen? Great, perfect. Okay, so we, like many folks who are concerned about people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, kind of panicked when COVID hit, and we kind of immediately went into this protective mode about keeping people safe and sanitation and distance and so forth and so on. And it took us a couple of months, but within a couple of months, we started realizing that we weren't helping people make much progress in their lives. And in fact, we're regressing around relationships. People were losing contact with people that we had put a lot of hard work and energy into helping establish relationships. And those relationships seemed to be fading, and we were really concerned about that. And so we started thinking about what could we do during a pandemic that might address this. And we were very grateful that Beth Mount collaborated with us, and we together created a project that we called Reconnecting Threads. And so the idea of Reconnecting Threads was the idea about how might we capture the stories that first of all illustrated the transformation that had been made in people's lives, people who were supported by Mattingly Edge, both before, during, and after COVID. Like, what could we do that would capture the story and the learning? And the vision was to invite people that we support to participate in telling their stories as living examples of the strengthening of the gifts and identity, relationships, belonging, employment, adapting, and co-creating with others to make visible that which will not otherwise be seen. And so we began, and what I'm going to share with you today is basically the story about that. And so one of the guiding metaphors, and of course we credit Beth with this metaphor, but was the idea of weaving together, and that the warp, one thing that we would be looking at is capacity themes. So what are people's capacities? What capacities have been developed? What capacities do people want to develop? And then the weft was the quality of relationship. And so we wanted to look at those two things. So we reached out and we invited folks we support, would you be interested in this? And some said yes, and some said no, and some said hell no. But thankfully, some folks were very interested. And so I'm going to share primarily where Warren is in his effort around Reconnecting Threads. So this is a picture of Warren meeting with his facilitator, the woman on the right there, and Roddy, which is one of his direct support workers. And Warren came to our office to really explore what is it that Warren might be able to do that would help him both reconnect with people and build some collaboration. Well, we knew a few things about Warren because we've been supporting him a number of years. One is that Warren came in an era where being manly is very important to him. He's a very masculine guy, has really clear ideas about what men do and what women do. And so one of the hobbies that he had begun to play around with was woodworking. And he and his support workers had spent some time at a collaborative creative space where they had lots of good machinery and so forth and so on. And he had begun to make some things and sell them to neighbors, church members, and so forth and so on. And so we knew something manly. Warren is also from rural Kentucky. And so, you know, the whole rural culture is something that's important to him. He also is part of a faith community, Unity of Louisville. And this was a picture taken actually 2 years ago now, I think, maybe 3, where Warren's church family takes him to lunch after church to celebrate his birthday each year. And this has been going on for a while now. So these are the people from church who are kind of closest to Warren. And so when we put these 3 ideas together, this idea of, you know, something that would be manly and seen by him as that, something that would be kind of a rural culture, and something that could include his church, we began to look at the idea of barn quilts. And so Warren, the first step of his kind of effort, collaboration, was to go and do a bit of research about this. So his supporters helped him go online and learn about what the purpose of barn quilts were. They were actually hidden messages, you know, during the Underground Railroad that said, you know, you're safe here, or don't stop, or, you know, go north, or whatever messages. And so Warren went around Kentucky. We actually have a barn quilt trail in Kentucky. And so he went and visited a number of those and decided upon this one that he really liked. And it is, of course, a representation of a cross. So the next step that he decided is that he wanted to do a collaborative art project that would involve his friends from church. And so he, with support, purchased the materials to make plywood pieces. You can see there he was measuring out the design and using the power tools to cut and saw the thing into the pieces, and did a nice job of sanding the edges so they'll look nice together. And then he arranged them, as you can see there on the left. He arranged them in the design and then assigned the colors. And what he would do then is once that was done, he would pick up the piece and he'd put a number or a letter on the back of it indicating what color that piece needed to be. So originally we were going to do this in person, and Kentucky, our governor 2 weeks ago put us all on red alert and really advised us not to be around people. And so unfortunately his gathering has moved to a Zoom version of that. But this was his guest list, people that he knew from church. And he's been a chaplain at his church for a while, and called on and visit sick members of the church and such. And so these were the people that he had grown closest to, been on committees with, and so forth and so on. And so he did the guest list, and we worked together with Warren on an invite. So you can see, please join Warren for a virtual barn quilt painting party. So it is actually taking place this coming Saturday at 1 o'clock. And the various people have played different parts in it. The minister actually set up the Zoom invite so that it's hosted by the church, actually, as opposed to being hosted by Mattingly. And this invitation has gone out, and Warren is now in the process of delivering his bags. And so all of the church members who responded to his email, RSVP'd to his email on there, he and his supporters developed bags that have several of the pieces, puzzle pieces, quilt pieces, and paint and a paintbrush and a drink and refreshments. And he's delivering those today and tomorrow. In fact, I'd hope to have a picture of him delivering one, but they haven't happened yet today. So he's delivering those today and tomorrow, and then they'll have the call on Saturday. And he is also going to ask each of the members to write an affirmation on the back of the piece that they do. And then Warren's going to call and talk with them about the affirmation, about why they chose that affirmation, why it's a good one. And then he'll arrange to go and pick up the pieces. And what we hope is that he will then put that piece put together. And when we're able to be in person again, there'll be some kind of celebration where the group of church members who worked on this together present it to the church. Don't know where this is going to go, but already when we talked on the phone to some of the people who are interested, several folks got super excited saying, you know, there's a barn quilt on trail out in rural Kentucky. Why couldn't there be a barn quilt trail, the urban version of it, right, where it could be around the city of Louisville? And so people are already starting to think about what might be next, you know, what might be another way of this. And it was really interesting how excited people were to be invited and thought it was a really creative idea. And most of the friends Warren has are his age, you know, in their 60s and 70s. And so this felt really manageable for that group of people. So we're really excited about it and look forward to seeing other projects. I will just mention that a couple of other, just to give you a brief clue, one of the other folks that we support, Sebastian, is an artist, and he has a very distinct style of art, kind of a whimsical, folksy kind of style. But he's part of a collaborative of several Latinx artists, 3 other, and himself. And so what they've decided to do is to take the same picture, and this is a picture of it. It's one of the ladies' piece of art. And for them each to do the same piece in their unique style and version of it. And so Sebastian is already working on that. And then another, oh, I'm sorry, there we go, one more. The other thing Sebastian is doing is he's turned his artwork into masks. This is a colleague of mine, Dan, modeling it, but is going to be giving away some of his artistic masks to some of the people in this art collaborative. And so that'll give him a chance to come across people. So our hope is that people will enjoy the companionship of being together and maybe generate energy for some kind of continued way of being together. And that is